It was Christmas Eve, and the streets were quiet. The snow had been falling gently for a few hours, leaving a soft white layer over everything: cars, rooftops, the sidewalks, and the roads. Almost every house had Christmas lights glowing in different colors. Some blinked, some just glowed softly in the cold air. It looked peaceful, like a postcard. But for Adam, the night didn't feel peaceful. Adam was 23 and worked at a grocery store in a small town just outside of Toronto. He was a stock boy and had to work the night shift that week. Most people were home with their families by the time his shift ended. It was late around 11:30 p.m. when he finally got into his old Honda and started driving home. He was tired. His back ached from lifting boxes all day, and all he wanted was to eat something and crash on the couch next to his mom, who had stayed up waiting for him. The streets were empty, not a single car in sight. The snow made everything quieter than usual. It was that kind of stillness that made you feel like you were the only person awake in the world. As Adam drove through town, he passed through an intersection with a red light. He came to a stop and waited. That's when he saw something strange. Across the street, standing under a broken streetlight, was a man. Or at least he thought it was a man. The figure wasn't moving. He just stood there at the edge of the sidewalk, facing Adam's car. His hand was raised, not like a wave exactly, more like a half wave, just holding his hand up in the air. Adam squinted through the windshield. The man was wearing a heavy coat, maybe black or dark brown, and something on his head, maybe a beanie or a hood. His face was hard to see. The light above him flickered a few times and then went out. Adam blinked, and the man was gone. He leaned forward in his seat, looking back at the corner, but the sidewalk was empty now. There were no footprints in the snow, no one walking away. It was like the man had never been there. Adam rubbed his eyes. He figured he was just tired. Maybe his brain was playing tricks on him. It had been a long day, and he hadn't eaten much. He shook it off, took a deep breath, and kept driving. He turned off the main road and headed toward his neighborhood, a quiet row of houses near the woods. But after a few blocks, Adam noticed something in his rearview mirror: headlights. A car had turned onto the same street a few seconds after him. That wasn't weird at first. But then the car stayed right behind him, even as he turned again. It was getting closer. Too close. Adam changed lanes to see if the car would pass him. It didn't. It stayed right behind him. He slowed down a bit. So did the other car. No one honked. No one tried to pass. It just followed. Now Adam started feeling that creeping sensation, the one that starts in your stomach and spreads to your chest. The road ahead was dark. Most of the houses on this street had their lights off, probably already asleep. Adam's house was still a few blocks away, and he started thinking about what to do. Should he pull over? Should he call someone? But then he told himself maybe it was just a neighbor heading the same way. Maybe he was being paranoid. He turned into his driveway and stopped the car. His mom had left the porch light on for him. It gave off a yellow glow that made the falling snow sparkle a little. But Adam didn't feel warm or safe, because the car behind him didn't keep driving. It stopped right across the street. Its engine was still running, and the headlights stayed on, pointing toward Adam's house. He sat in his car for a moment, pretending to check something on his phone, trying to see if the driver would move. But the car just stayed there. No one got out. No one opened a window. Just silence. After nearly a full minute, Adam slowly got out of his car. He tried not to look directly at the other vehicle. He didn't want to show that he was nervous. He grabbed his grocery bag from the back seat and walked to the front door. The snow crunched under his boots. Every sound felt louder. He got his key out and unlocked the door quickly. Right before stepping inside, something made him turn around. That's when the headlights on the car across the street turned off. The engine stopped. But still, no one moved. Adam stepped inside and locked the door behind him. He tried to shake it off. Maybe it was a neighbor. Maybe it was just someone waiting for a friend. He told himself it was nothing. But the truth is, the whole thing felt wrong. His mom greeted him with a smile and asked if he wanted something warm to eat. He said no, he just wanted to sit down for a bit. She didn't notice how pale he looked or how he kept glancing out the window. The cozy lights and the smell of cookies made the house feel safe, but Adam didn't feel safe. Something had followed him home, and it was still out there. Adam tried to relax on the couch after coming home, but the strange car outside kept coming back into his mind. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw those headlights shining toward the house and the shape of the man he thought he saw earlier under the broken streetlight. His mom sat beside him, drinking tea and watching a Christmas movie, the soft glow of the TV making the living room feel warm and safe. Outside, the snow kept falling quietly, covering the street and the yards in a clean white layer. But Adam could not shake off the feeling that someone was still out there, watching the house from the dark. After a while, his mom asked him to take out the trash before bed. She had baked cookies earlier, and the trash was full. Adam didn't want to go outside, but he didn't want to worry his mom either, so he put on his coat and boots and grabbed the trash bag. The cold hit him as soon as he stepped outside. The air was sharp, and the snow was falling gently under the streetlights. Everything looked calm, and for a moment, he tried to convince himself that he had just imagined everything earlier. As he walked toward the trash bins near the side of the house, Adam noticed something strange. There were footprints in the snow, coming from the street and moving around the side of the house. They were fresh, too fresh, because the falling snow had not covered them yet. Adam stopped, holding the trash bag in one hand, and bent down to look at the prints. They were boot prints, but they were not his, and they were not his mom's either. They were larger, and the pattern on the bottom of the boots was different. The footprints led around the side of the house, near the kitchen window, and then around to the backyard. Adam's heart started to pound in his chest. He looked around, but the street was empty, and the houses around them were dark and silent. He could hear the blood rushing in his ears, and every small sound made him jump a little. Adam followed the footprints slowly, careful not to make too much noise on the snow. He felt like he was being watched, like someone was hiding nearby, just out of sight. As he turned the corner toward the backyard, he saw more prints, like someone had been pacing back and forth near the back fence. The snow was disturbed in that area, and it looked like the person had stood there for a while, just standing and looking at the house. Then Adam noticed something else that made him feel even colder than the winter air. One of the windows at the back of the house was slightly open. It was the small window above the laundry room. Adam knew it had been closed earlier because his mom was always careful about locking up before it got dark. She was afraid of raccoons or stray cats getting inside, so she always checked the windows twice. But now it was open, just a small crack, but enough to let in the cold air. Adam's stomach dropped. He stared at the window, trying to see if there was any movement inside. But it was dark and he could not see much. He felt exposed, standing there in the snow with a trash bag in his hand, feeling like someone was watching him from the shadows. He slowly backed away and ran to the trash bin, dropping the bag inside quickly before running back to the house. He slipped a little on the snow near the back steps, catching himself with his hand, feeling the cold snow soak through his glove. He didn't look back as he unlocked the back door and stepped inside, locking it behind him and making sure the deadbolt was secure. His mom was still in the living room, and she looked up when she saw him come in, breathing hard and looking pale. She asked him if everything was okay, and Adam thought about telling her everything. He wanted to tell her about the car that followed him, about the footprints, about the open window, and about how he felt like someone was outside watching them. But he didn't want to scare her, especially on Christmas Eve, so he just told her that the back window was open and she should check it. She looked worried and said maybe the wind had pushed it open, or maybe she had forgotten to close it all the way. Adam didn't argue, but deep down, he knew it was not the wind. He knew someone had been near their house, standing there in the snow, looking in through the window, and maybe trying to get inside. That night, Adam tried to sleep, but every small sound in the house made him open his eyes and look around. The creaks of the wood, the sound of the heater turning on, the soft rustle of the wind against the windows, all of it made him jump. He kept thinking about the footprints and how close they had come to the house. He kept picturing the man he saw under the streetlight, the way he had raised his hand, and how he had disappeared when the light flickered. Around 3 a.m., Adam was still awake, staring at the ceiling, trying to stay calm. That was when he heard it, the sound of snow crunching outside his window. It was a slow, careful sound, like someone was walking in the snow, trying not to make too much noise. Adam held his breath, listening closely, hoping it was just an animal. But deep down, he knew it was not. Someone was outside, moving quietly. In the snow, right under his window, in the middle of the night on Christmas Eve, and Adam felt something he had never felt before. Pure fear. Adam lay still in his bed, holding his breath as he listened to the soft crunching of snow outside his window. It was a slow, careful sound, like someone was taking one step, pausing, then taking another. The footsteps moved back and forth under his window, and sometimes they stopped completely, which somehow felt even worse. His room was dark except for the small glow from a streetlight outside, and he could see the shadows of the falling snow on his wall. His heart was beating so hard he could feel it in his neck, and his hands felt cold even under the blanket. He wanted to get up and look through the blinds, but he was scared that if he did, whoever was out there would see him, and he did not want that. He lay there, trying to convince himself it was just an animal, maybe a stray dog or a raccoon moving through the snow. But deep inside, he knew it was not an animal. Animals did not walk so slowly or stop for long periods as if listening for sounds in the house. Then the footsteps moved closer to the window. Adam heard the snow crunch right under where his head was on the other side of the wall. He could almost feel the presence of someone standing there, looking up at his window. The footsteps stopped and the night became painfully silent. Adam did not know how long he lay there like that, but it felt like forever. Every second felt heavy, and the fear in his chest made it hard for him to breathe. Finally, he could not take it anymore. He slowly sat up, careful not to make the bed creak, and moved toward the window. His hands were shaking as he lifted one corner of the blinds just a tiny bit so he could peek outside. At first, he saw nothing, just the snow falling under the street light and the soft glow of Christmas lights from the neighbors' houses. But then, near the edge of the yard where the snow met the fence, he saw him. There was a man standing there, facing the house. He was wearing a dark coat and something over his head, maybe a hood or a hat, and he was completely still. Adam felt his blood run cold. The man's face was shadowed, but Adam could see enough to know he was staring right at the house and possibly right at him. For a second, Adam hoped it was a shadow or maybe a tree, but then the man lifted his hand slowly, raising it in the same half wave Adam had seen before under the STREETLIGHT. Adam let the blinds fall back down quickly and backed away from the window, his breath coming out in quick foggy puffs in the cold air of his room. He did not know what to do. Should he wake his mom? Should he call the police? What if the man tried to break in? His mind was spinning with fear and confusion. He moved to the corner of his room, where he could still hear any sounds but was hidden from the window. He tried to listen for footsteps again, but the night was completely silent now. It was so quiet that Adam could hear the ticking of the clock on his wall and the soft humming of the heater downstairs. He waited there for what felt like hours, but in reality, it was only a few minutes. Then he heard a soft tapping sound on the window. It was so quiet that if he had not been listening, he might have missed it. Tap, tap, tap. Adam felt tears building in his eyes because he was so scared. He covered his mouth with his hand, trying not to make any noise, trying not to let the man outside know that he was awake and listening. The tapping stopped, and Adam heard the footsteps again, moving away from the window this time, slowly, like. The man was walking backward, still facing the house. Adam did not move from his spot. He stayed there until the sky started turning gray with the first light of morning. Only then did he gather the courage to peek outside again. The man was gone, but the snow outside was covered in footprints circling around the house, leading up to each window, including the living room and the kitchen, and then back toward the woods behind the house. Adam noticed something else too. The snow near the window had handprints on it, like the man had placed his hands on the wall under the window to look inside. When Adam's mom woke up, she found him sitting on the floor in his room, pale and shaking. She asked him what happened, and this time Adam told her everything. He told her about the car that had followed him, about the footprints near the trash bins, about the open window, and about the man standing outside his room in the snow. His mom's face changed as she listened, and she called the police right away. When the police arrived, they checked the yard and saw the footprints too. They followed the tracks until they disappeared into the woods, but they did not find anyone there. They told Adam and his mom to keep the doors and windows locked and to call them if they saw anything suspicious again. That day, Adam could not stop looking out the window, waiting to see the man in the dark coat again. Every small noise outside made him jump, and even the sight of a neighbor shoveling snow made his heart race. He realized that the fear he felt was not just about seeing the man again. It was about knowing that someone could come so close to your home, to your safe place. In the middle of the night, and watch you without you even knowing. And the worst part was that Adam felt deep down that this was not over yet. Adam didn't sleep at all that Christmas night. Even after the police came and left, he still felt like someone was watching the house. Every sound made him flinch. Every creak of the floorboards or whisper of the wind outside made him tense. Up, his mom tried to comfort him, saying it was probably just some drunk stranger passing through or a prank. But Adam knew better. It hadn't been random. That man, whoever he was, had followed him, watched him, and walked around the house for hours. That wasn't a prank. That was something worse. The morning of Christmas Day felt off. Snow was still, falling gently, but the sky was gray and heavy. Usually, Christmas in their house was filled with music, warm smells from the kitchen, and laughter. But this year, it was quiet. His mom made coffee and breakfast, trying to act like things were normal. Adam just sat at the table, staring out the window. By noon, the police still hadn't found anything. They said the tracks in the snow led into the woods behind the house and then disappeared. They guessed the man might have gotten into another car or just kept walking deeper into the forest. Either way, they said he was gone. Adam didn't believe it. He couldn't. It felt unfinished, like something was still waiting to happen. Later that afternoon, his mom asked him to go into the attic to bring down an old box of ornaments they forgot to hang. Adam didn't really want to be alone, especially in the attic, but he didn't want to argue. So he climbed up the old wooden ladder in the hallway and pulled himself into the small attic space. The attic smelled like dust and old wood. Light came through a small window near the roof. Most of the space was filled with boxes, old furniture, and Christmas decorations from past years. Adam crouched down and started moving boxes around, looking for the one marked ornaments. As he reached for a red plastic bin near the back, something caught his eye. In the corner of the attic, behind an old chair and a stack of boxes, he saw something strange, something out of place. It looked like a blanket or maybe a piece of dark fabric crumpled up in the corner. Curious and a little nervous, Adam stepped over to it. When he pulled it out, his blood ran cold. It was a coat. A dark, heavy coat. The same kind he had seen the man wearing outside in the snow. He dropped it instantly, stepping back. He looked around the attic in a panic, like the man might still be hiding up there. But no one else was there. Just him. Adam's breathing became fast and shaky. He picked up the coat again with the edge of a cardboard box and held it away from his body. He didn't want to touch it with his bare hands. Inside the coat pocket was something else, a small, worn-out piece of paper, folded twice. Adam opened it slowly. The handwriting was messy and hard to read, but it sent a chill through him. "You left the door unlocked. I wanted to come in." That was all it said. Adam stumbled down the ladder, yelling for his mom. She came running, and when he showed her the coat and the note, her face went pale. They called the police again, who came back and searched the attic. They said there were signs that someone had been up their old food wrappers, an empty water bottle, and a torn blanket stuffed behind the insulation. That's when the truth hit both of them hard. The man hadn't just been outside. He had been inside their house. At some point, probably when Adam was still at work or after he went to bed, the man had snuck in, likely through the open laundry window, and hid in the attic. He had been up there the whole night, watching, listening, maybe even longer. The police couldn't say how long he'd been there. maybe hours, maybe a day or more. They figured he had escaped through the attic window when the sun came up. That small window opened to the roof, and from there he could have climbed down without being seen. Adam couldn't believe it. While he sat in the living room, while he tried to sleep, while he told himself everything was okay, that man had been right above him, hidden in the darkness just a few feet away. After that day, Adam and his mom installed cameras around the house. They added extra locks on every door and window. Adam couldn't sleep in his room for weeks. He kept hearing noises above the ceiling, even when there was nothing there. The memory of that note haunted him the most. The idea that someone had been that close, watching them, listening, waiting. The worst part? A week later, they reviewed the footage from the newly installed attic camera. One night, around 2:13 a.m., the motion sensor light in the attic turned on. The footage showed nothing but shadows and dust until, for just a second, a face appeared at the edge of the camera frame. It was blurry, but Adam recognized the eyes. It was him. The man had come back, and this time he knew where the camera was.